Loves, this whole GoFundMe situation, it has officially rolled into a brand new level of chaos. The kind where you sit back, blink twice, and ask yourself, did she really think nobody would ever ask where that money went? Because the way everything blew up, the timing, the scrambling, the explanations, it feels like watching someone try to hold a handful of water without a container. Mess everywhere. This isn't about drama. This is about accountability, trust, and real people who donated actual money thinking they were helping a serious situation. And now, that is all unraveling in front of everyone. The only question is, how deep does this story really go? So let's breathe, get into the full breakdown because this one is layered. Stephanie launched a GoFundMe way back in July, claiming it was meant to cover certain legal fees and improve her children's lives. Yet to this day, she has never clearly explained where that money went or how it was used. The fundraiser collected over little $500 out of the $3,000 goal she set, and despite promising transparency and receipts, she stayed silent for months until Drew exposed her publicly. This sudden, pressured response is the only reason she addressed it, and even then, her explanation was vague, confusing, and full of contradictions. Let's unpack everything in depth. During one of Drew's lives, a viewer threw out what seemed like the simplest question, almost too casual. They asked about the GoFundMe money, how much had been used, what it went toward, and who exactly was handling it. And honestly, the moment that question landed, you could feel the energy shift. Drew didn't dodge it. He didn't dance around it. He just went straight into exposing Stephanie. He said she claimed she couldn't log into the account because she forgot the password, got locked out, and basically left the whole thing frozen.
Lauren, that GoFundMe got hacked or something. She can't get into it. So I don't know what's going on with it.
Sure, come after me because I didn't make a post about that or anything. You're like, we didn't say nothing about that. Like, I don't got nobody.
Oh, yeah.
And as he said this on live, you could see Stephanie in the background. Not the calm, collected version she tries to present. No, she was panicked. You could see her face drop, her body tighten, that quick swirl of shock like, why are we talking about this right now? You know when someone hears something they weren't prepared to defend and immediately starts doing damage control? That was her in real time. She jumped into defensive mode so fast you'd think someone pressed a panic button. She kept insisting she couldn't access the account, repeating that the site wouldn't let her log in and stressing that none of the donations had been touched. It's almost like she wanted to repeat it enough times to convince herself, not just the audience. And the thing is, anyone watching that live could tell she never intended to address this topic. You could see it all over her body language, the discomfort, the frustration, the way her energy shifted the second Drew mentioned the GoFundMe. She wasn't ready, she wasn't willing, and she definitely wasn't expecting it to come up. That live pushed her out of the comfort zone she had built around avoiding this whole situation. It was only when Drew's life started circulating, with people asking questions and demanding clarity, that she found herself backed into a corner. She didn't choose transparency, she was dragged into it by the pressure of the audience and the exposure from Drew.
So Stephanie Jenkins got called out by Drew Jenkins, basically trying to say what they're going to do with the GoFundMe. And so because he spoke about it on his live, Stephanie Jenkins finds herself having to explain and do some explaining. Now, basically what it is and what she said is that she hasn't had access to her GoFundMe, and she's like really trying to like get us to donate to her children because she says, oh guys, Christmas is coming and we have to buy them gifts, and is it okay if we use the GoFundMe money that was originally supposed to be for like lawyer fees to basically fight to get custody of Deshaun? And again, they forgot about him, right? That's not important anymore. Now, all they care about for them, I'm not saying it's not important like for everybody, it's important to other people except Stephanie Jenkins. Now she's moved on and she wants to get permission from one person who donated to her GoFundMe and basically say, is it okay if we use that for something else? She then goes to say, like, can we use it for, like, urban air? I don't know. Go ahead and watch this video. But it's like, Stephanie Jenkins, you just spent $250 on an appliance for yourself to make your videos so that you can get more clout. But urban air...
She didn't address the situation because she wanted to, but because at that point, she couldn't keep avoiding it. Following the backlash, Stephanie released a video attempting to explain the situation. But the way she talked, the tone, the pauses, it all felt like someone trying to hold the story together with shaky hands. She captioned it, "I was trying to get this figured out and fixed before I said anything." It felt like that would give a better sense of security to everyone who donated. But I can see that me not saying anything at all is actually causing more confusion. And then she added, "Much love to everyone." Almost like she was trying to wrap the mess in a soft blanket. But you can always feel when someone is speaking from pressure instead of intention. Her voice, her poses, even her wording. It didn't sound like someone who was coming out clean of a choice. It sounded like someone admitting just enough to stop the questions without really wanting to answer them. She could have said anything before Drew went live, but she didn't. She waited until the moment the heat turned up. In the video, she claimed she logged in a month ago, but the site told her the account didn't exist anymore, even though she used the exact email she created it with. Then she said she tried to recreate the same GoFundMe using the same email, same name, same details, and the system still said nothing existed.
Hey y'all, I'm sorry if this is kind of crappy lighting, but I just really wanted to take a minute and reach out and say this because I'm sure some people are kind of curious, like, what happened to our GoFundMe. So let me take a second and say, I tried to log back into it a month or so ago and it told me the account did not exist. I looked into my email that I set up the account with and I didn't even have like an activation email or anything like that. It really looked like I just did not set that account up, period. So what I went ahead and did just to kind of test it out is I set an account up the exact same way I did before, same email, same username and everything, and it let me do it as if the account really does not exist. There wasn't anyone who set that up previously. And if you know us, you should know this was definitely some kind of phishing activity. Somebody knows what they did. But also I want to point out that you can go in there and see where that GoFundMe is and see that none of the donations have been used. It's still sitting at the balance of what it would be for every donation. I have been trying to figure out how to contact the GoFundMe site, and y'all, I'm really not the best at this stuff. That's why I try to be open and honest with you guys about it, because I'm not trying to scam anybody or be wrong with this money, but I'm trying to figure out how to get into contact with the site and let them know what happened, see what they can do about it, and probably just officially shut that GoFundMe down because it just didn't go the direction we were hoping as is. I do want to make sure that you guys know we were deeply appreciative of the people who made the donations, and we were going to do with that money what it said, like either with legal help or things that the kids need. And Christmas is approaching. Y'all always can see like the children have needs, so we were going to put it out there as we weren't able to raise quite as much as we would need for legal assistance. How do you guys feel about us using it for things that the kids need, potentially even like an urban air trip or whatever? But with not having any access to that GoFundMe currently, I just didn't feel comfortable even getting online and saying anything until I had it figured out. Drew mentioned it in his live, which kind of put me on a spotlight before I was able to figure it out. And it came off as like me trying to hide it, which was the opposite of what I was trying to do. I was really trying to just get it all figured out before I mentioned it to anybody. So, are you okay?
She even added on-screen text asking if anyone knew how to contact the GoFundMe site. It felt like she was trying to paint herself as someone lost in a maze, asking for a map. And then, out of nowhere, she pulled out the hacking card. She said someone must have phished or hacked her accounts, insisting this mystery person knew exactly what they were doing. She repeated that public GoFundMe page shows no money used, like she was clinging to that one detail as her lifeline. She said she wasn't the best at these things, that she was trying to contact GoFundMe support, and that she was doing her best. Then she shifted to emotional reassurance. She said she wanted to be open because she wasn't trying to scam anybody and wanted to do it right by people who donated. She said she would shut the account down if necessary and repeat again, and she was still trying to reach support.
Christmas is approaching. Y'all always can see like children have needs, so we were going to put it out there as we weren't able to raise quite as much as we would need for legal assistance. How do you guys feel about us using it for things that the kids need, potentially even like an urban air trip or whatever?
Literally 2 days ago, Stephanie was bragging about her new $250 air fryer, yet another kitchen gadget. And here she is begging for money on GoFundMe for urban air, a trip that she has been dangling over her children's head for over a year now. She not only admitted to spending over $300 a month on gardening, she bragged about it. She was going, we're not ashamed. We're not ashamed. We're not ashamed of how we spend our money. Every single cent she has made or been given, she has squandered on nonsense, either putting into her lungs or on nonsense kitchen gadgets and gaming headsets. And she has the audacity to ask for her followers or haters or whoever to pay for a trip to urban air. And whoever said that she would be grifting for Christmas, nail on the head. Nail on the head. Keep in mind, 42 million people just lost SNAP benefits. Do you know how many parents that are low income have maybe been able to like square a little money away for their children for Christmas, and now will have to use every penny to make sure they don't starve? So don't you dare donate a penny to this woman. Don't you dare buy her children Christmas gifts, because she has the money for it. She has the money to do all. If she has the money for a $250 air fryer, when she already had an air fryer, mind you, she has the money for Christmas and urban air. Don't you dare. You give to your local food bank. You go find a child on Angel Tree that needs help. You give to people who are truly needy, not these trash bags. This truly might be like the peak of her disgusting behavior. Wow. Right when you think she couldn't sink any lower. Wow.
But the more she spoke, the more her explanation slipped between excuses and justifications. Then, here's where it changed. She thanked the donors. She said the fundraiser didn't go in the direction they hoped and brought up the original goals: legal fees or helping the kids with what they need. And then suddenly, she shifted to Christmas, the festive season, the kids' needs. It was like her mind skipped tracks mid-sentence. She floated the idea of asking the public how they felt about using the remaining money for the kids, like an urban air trip, since they didn't meet the legal fee goal. She said losing access to the account made her uncomfortable addressing it online, and that she wanted to wait until she figured it out. But something about the timing, the sudden emphasis on holiday needs, felt too convenient.
Well. Hello, Staphylococcus sufferers. I wanted to come on here really quick because Stephanie decided to come online and explain the whole GoFundMe situation, which sounds like a bunch of BS, of course. Apparently on Drew's last live, which I can never ever get all the way through because they're so, I just can't get into them. They're so boring. I can't deal with the camera being pointed at his forehead. I cannot deal with his lives. So apparently somebody had asked Drew about the GoFundMe. He said something and then she said something and it made them both sound evasive or something. So she felt the need to come on and explain herself. She's saying that, she's basically saying that the GoFundMe must have gotten hacked. It must have been a phishing situation because basically they're so famous. So yeah, it had to be phishing. So that's what she's going with right now. I looked in the comments, and of course there's plenty of people in the comments who agree that it's not hacked and that she's already spent all the money. I think it was just a few $100s anyways, but yeah, she's on here lying once again.
And of course, she couldn't leave Drew out of it. She threw a little shade, saying he pushed her into the spotlight before she was ready. She implied he made her look like she was hiding something. She claimed her silence wasn't intentional, but that she only wanted to fix everything before she spoke. But the way she framed it, it came off more like deflecting than explaining. Here's the issue. I want to slow it down a bit because this is where things start to make real sense when you think about it calmly. GoFundMe balance pages do not update publicly to show where the money has been withdrawn. The number you see on the public page, the total amount raised, is not a live reflection of what's actually sitting in the account. It's literally just the total amount collected. So, even if Stephanie withdrew every dollar the minute it came in, the page would still show the same number. It's like the public view is frozen in time, while all the real activity happens behind the scenes where only the fundraiser creator can see it. Look at the perfect example right in front of us. Desiree's GoFundMe. The fundraiser brought in $10,000 for Deshaun's legal fees. The money was already taken out, paid to attorneys, used for what it was intended for. But when you click on it right now, the page still shows the full $10,000. It doesn't show $0. It doesn't show $5,000 left. It shows the entire amount raised. The only difference is that the fundraiser is labeled paused, which just means they stopped accepting donations. That is it. So yes, it looks untouched to the public, but the funds have already been moved. That's how the system works. Now, knowing this, Stephanie's whole defense, none of the money has been touched because the balance still shows the same, starts to fall apart. The explanation is generous, at best, misleading. At worst, it shows she's banking on the public not understanding how GoFundMe actually functions. Because the truth is, only the account holder can see the actual withdrawal history, the transfer dates, and the real-time balance. That information is not visible publicly. So the fact that she's clinging to the public display as proof is already a red flag. And then there is the part that makes all of this even more questionable. When you create a GoFundMe, you must set up withdrawals within a 3-month window. If you don't, GoFundMe automatically refunds the donations back to the donor's payment methods. It's not optional. It's built into the system. That's why most people set their withdrawal frequency to daily, weekly, or monthly so that donations don't get returned. So here's where the story just stops making sense. Stephanie claimed she lost access for months, yet somehow the donations are still sitting there untouched and unrefunded. If she truly lost access and never set up withdrawals, then by GoFundMe policy, every donor should have gotten their money back already. But that's not what she's saying. She's insisting the funds are still there. And that contradiction, that gap between her story and GoFundMe's actual rules, is the part that makes everything she said feel shaky, confusing, and honestly, pretty unlikely. Stephanie revived her old hacking narrative, saying someone hacked into her accounts and made her lose access to the GoFundMe. The way she said it, almost too calmly, almost too rehearsed, felt like a story she had already practiced. She previously claimed her iCloud was hacked months ago. So now she's bringing up another hacker, another incident, another mysterious person lurking in the shadows. But when you sit with it for a minute, when you actually connect the dots, the whole thing starts to crack. Because if a real hacker gained access to her private accounts, her passwords, her photos, her information, why has nothing ever been leaked? Why has there never been a ransom message, never a threatening email, never any blackmail attempt? She once said hackers targeted her because of her personality, but she has never shown even a single receipt, no screenshots, no suspicious login alerts, no warning messages from Apple or GoFundMe, nothing, not even the tiniest hint. And every time, she's caught in something she needs to explain. Every time she finds herself in a situation where accountability is required, the hacking storyline magically pops up like her go-to-escape door. It's too convenient. Too convenient. And at this point, it's become a predictable pattern. one that feels less like truth and more like a shield she lifts whenever the heat gets too close. Her story becomes even more questionable when considering her spending habits. She recently bought a kitchen appliance worth over $200 and spent nearly $300 on gardening. Yet she wants the public to believe she's not touched the GoFundMe money and wants permission to use it for the kids now. Meanwhile, she subtly hints at needing more donations by focusing on her children's needs during the holiday season. Her kids are her emotional shield. She knows viewers feel protective toward them, so she uses their innocence as leverage whenever she is questioned. The original GoFundMe was built on shaky ground. She launched it claiming she needed legal funds to keep Dishon away from his mother. Many viewers refused to support that cause, but those who did donate because the GoFundMe description said secure legal assistance and better our children's lives. Yet neither of those objectives materialized. There are no receipts, no legal updates, no proof of progress. She swore she would show documentation, but after months of silence, nothing exists. Stephanie took time to write a response to trolls saying, when it's worth it, but a stranger sitting there typing a full essay clearly has too much time on their hands. I don't even have time to read long comments like that. Then she added, when trolls leave me 3-paragraph comments expecting me to read more than the first sentence. Yet her tone shows she read every word. The embarrassment and irritation seeped through her response. The comments were not even hate. They were viewers trying to encourage her to make responsible choices, get stable housing, and put her children first. She wants donations, gifts, financial support, and sympathy, but she doesn't want constructive criticism. She wants people to help buy her gifts for her kids for Christmas, but mocks them when they point out she spent money irresponsibly. After complaining about trolls, she then turned around and hinted that she needed money to take the kids to open air, showing she still expects the public to support her. And now she's also benefiting from small gifts people send for Atlas and Manova, which only encourages her to keep fishing for more support. She sees how easily people respond when children are mentioned, and she's leaning into that. Stephanie's explanations are inconsistent, her receipts non-existent, her excuses recycled, and her transparency missing. The pattern points to one thing. She never planned to use the GoFundMe as promised, and now that she has been questioned, she is scrambling to rewrite the narrative. Nothing about her explanation adds up. She launched a GoFundMe with vague intentions, failed to provide receipts, used the hacking excuse multiple times, hinted at needing more gifts, and brought up Christmas as a way to appeal to emotions. She is navigating between guilt, fear of exposure, and a desire for donations. But the public is watching closely, and the holes in her story are widening. Let me know what you think in the comments. Stay tuned for updates.